Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to be talking about Batman and whether he is a good role model or not, okay? So I'm going to talk about him from the perspective of mind, body, spirit, culture, and social, okay? All right, so let's dig into it. All right, so Batman considered as a role model. So I'm going to talk at the very end and say yes or no whether Batman is a good role model. And I think a role model needs to be strong across all of these, good across, they can be good in some of the aspects, but they can't be terrible in any of them, okay? And so I just want to establish that up front. So when you are looking for a role model, they need to be good across all of these different aspects of life and humanity, and they cannot be terrible at any of them. If they are terrible at any of them, you should not follow that person as a role model. So let's get into it, okay? So, mind. The Batman has dedicated himself to making his mind powerful and adaptable. He has dedicated himself to being learned. He has pursued knowledge all the days of his life after his parents died. Okay, so he is, he has really dedicated himself to the pursuit of knowledge, right? And because of that, you see a Batman who is really, from a knowledge perspective, he's an expert on many subjects. He's incredibly well read. It's hard to think that you could be even that from a mind perspective, having knowledge, being able to apply that knowledge in different ways, even to the point of, I would say, Batman approaches having a fairly large amount of wisdom. Okay, that his mind is very, very strong. Okay, all right. Body. This one is a no-brainer. Batman is in peak physical condition. He's a master of at least half a dozen martial arts, if not well over a dozen. He constantly works to remain strong and swift, and to really make his entire body a weapon, and then make his ability to use crafted weapons peerless, absolutely peerless, right? So from the perspective of body, Batman is very, very strong, okay? All right, spirit. Here, Batman is terrible. So I guess I gave away my ending, but so he is devoid spiritually, all right? So Batman, at no point in any of it, now he has read, I think he's read every single sacred text, but he's done that from the perspective of being the world's greatest detective. And at no point does he apply those things to say, I am this, and dedicating himself to being a spiritual adherent of any particular religion, right? And so in that way, he is spiritually devoid. And I think that's a bad thing. I think it's a very bad thing. And that does, now, I understand why that has been applied to the Batman. And the reason why is the Batman is a comic book character, and they want to make him as broadly applicable and attractive to as many readers as possible. And they're very successful in that, right? And so, Batman being spiritually devoid certainly doesn't stop me from reading his comic books or watching his television shows or watching his movies or enjoying the many games based on Batman, all those things, right? But when we're talking about role model, I really feel that a role model should have committed themselves to a spiritual pursuit, right? And of course, mine is evangelical Christian. I am an evangelical Christian. One of the reasons why I feel so strongly on this one is the benefits have been more significant than anything I've ever dedicated myself to in my life ever, right? So to see a person who's completely devoid in that area, that's a bad thing, okay? Let's talk about social. So social is actually, I would say it's terrible. So Batman, I was tempted to say, oh, the Batman doesn't have any friends, but that's not true. The Batman does have friends. He has Gotham PD, a police detective who was his friend, named Bennett, all right? Now, of course, he later became Clayface. But before he became Clayface, him and Bruce Wayne were actually friends. The other thing is Wrath and Scorn. They are a duo of villains, but the young man who was college age and the junior high age kid that were Wrath and Scorn, Batman was friends with them as well, right? So, and actually within the comic books, within the shows, within the movies, there are a lot more friends. So Batman definitely had friends, right? But here's the issue: Batman is Bruce Wayne, okay? And so, from a social perspective, the Batman, literally the Batman, is terrible. Like, he doesn't interact with anyone in a friendly way except maybe Alfred, maybe. And even then, Alfred is his aide, right? So Alfred really doesn't count as a friend, right? In my opinion, I think they are genuinely friends. But I think Alfred is such an unusual circumstance. To say he's Batman's friend gets really weird. Because he's so much more than Batman's friend, and so, that level, he raised him. Alfred raised Batman, and so that becomes really problematic to say that they're friends in a regular sense of the word, friends, right? So that one's a little unusual, right? And and then the other thing is so here's the other issue with his friends. He's lying to all of them. All of his friends don't really know what he spends the vast majority of his time doing. And so constantly he's lying to them, right? And that is, and in my opinion, that is the absolute kernel of friendship, is trust. And I feel like a person you can't trust, you really cannot be friends with that person, right? Now, you could think you're friends with somebody until you learn that you can't trust them, and then you're going to find out real quick that that's not a friend, right? So from a social perspective, Batman is terrible, right? And then cultural, okay? Now, actually, this one, Batman is tremendous, right? Batman is incredible. He is probably one of his strongest. Mind and body are so on point. And then also cultural. So he absolutely loves Gotham. He protects Gotham as Batman. He aids Gotham as Bruce Wayne in two distinct ways. He supplies jobs for Gotham, and he's a philanthropist. He actually helps many organizations within Gotham. So the Batman has absolutely dedicated his life, right, to being a cultural icon within the sphere of Gotham. And so that is that's really fascinating, and I think it's excellent. And so the Batman is truly, he's great from a cultural perspective. I'm going to throw this last one in here real quick. Fashion. The Batman is the best when it comes to fashion. The bat suit is awesome. Bruce Wayne always, has his wardrobe extremely well done. Batman is great from a fashion perspective. All right, so if we consider Batman as a role model, okay, where does he land? He is incredible on the points of mind and body. He is terrible from the perspective of spiritual, social, and he is once again incredible on the perspective of culture, right? So the three that he's great at are mind, body, culture. The two that he is terrible at are spiritual and social. And so with two terrible aspects, the Batman is not a good role model, right? Which is kind of sad. I think, and so then, at that point, if you can't use the Batman as a role model, he then falls back into entertainment, which is a little bit, that's disappointing. And so the other thing is, so I'm really curious too, can DC fix this? Could they actually fix those two aspects and make, the Batman usable as a role model? It's a really fascinating concept. So that's my thoughts on Batman as a role model. Take care.